All right, Philip, welcome on the channel.
Thank you for having
Phillip
me.
Karcz on YouTube, if you guys want to check out his journey. Philip, my first question for you, I don't know why you're pointing down, I'm not going to put your channel in the description, but how much money did you make last month?
Last month I did $87,000.
How many clients?
3.
And what were you doing 6 months ago?
6 months ago, I was doing high ticket closing with also running a setting team. So I was a sales manager and I was taking sales calls.
Got it. And what made you want to get into the info agency model rather than continue in sales?
Honestly, like, don't get me wrong, high ticket sales, one of the best beginner business models to ever start. But I felt as if I was still trading my time for money. Like, the whole point of me going into online business was me not to work for a wage. But that's kind of what it felt like. I was working 12 hours a day and I just wanted to free up my time with more leverage. And this was just like the next level up.
Yeah. And you were making good money as a closer. Like, before you started sales management, what was your best month as a closer only?
30K.
And then your best month with management was like what, 40, 50?
50, yeah.
And then, so you're kind of steady around that range.
Yeah.
And you're thinking like, okay, I'm really good at sales. You've kind of managed the team. You have all these supplementary skills.
Yeah.
And you just reach this point where you're like, I want to transition into something that is higher leverage.
Yeah, exactly. Like, how can I free up my time? How can I make more money? Because at the end of the day, like, you only have a certain amount of hours per day. So unless like I'm working 24 hours a day taking sales calls, I could have went down like the whole like sales managing route, but I felt like I wanted to do more and ask for a bigger percentage. So I physically couldn't make more money than what I had.
Right.
And I wanted to make more.
And you were still taking calls and there was just a lot of time out of your day.
Yeah. I mean, my calendar was open, guys, from 10 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. Eastern every single day, including the weekends.
So for anyone watching this who's like in sales and they're like, I'm making 10, 20 grand a month in sales, but they feel the way you felt. Like, you were, what, 2 years almost where you were just on calls, like a year and a half, pretty much just closing.
Yeah.
What was that like first step that you took to get off the phone without completely dropping your income?
It was like before that, even I was still learning skills while I was closing. Like, the little free time I had, I was learning leadership skills. I even paid people to learn how to do CRM stuff, proper tracking management, learning Zapier. And then I would learn from you as well, like the whole like copywriting side of things, because that was the thing that kind of scared me going into this whole info product agency route, was the copywriting, because I was never writing when I was taking sales calls.
Yeah.
And then transitioning out was, I said to the offer I was closing for, like, I was like, hey, like, I want to step away. Because I was still setter managing. Yeah. So I asked for a larger increase in percentage for the entire team, stepping away from closing. So that, like, I made a little bit of a dent in my income, but whilst I was doing that, I was still outreaching, and then I landed a client pretty quickly.
Yeah. What did it look like when you were just doing sales management? Like, when you were managing the setter team, how were you running it? Like, what was the day-to-day like?
It was bad because I was still on sales calls. Yeah. And that was like one of the arguments I had with the offer owner was, I physically cannot manage a team if I'm on 12 calls a day. Yeah. Like, that's what I was doing. It was like, in between I was on a call, or maybe they're can I say retarded on this channel? Yeah. Maybe the setters are retarded. I couldn't be there. And now that I have multiple teams now, I'm more present, I'm more available, I'm able to actually manage them, as opposed to being on calls all day and then hopefully they're doing the work that they're supposed to be doing, which not 9 out of 10 times, but like a lot of the times they just were fucking off because they had no one to be there for them. Right,
because you were spending all your time on calls. And so from that point, how long did it take you to then go get your first 1 or 2 clients where you were doing everything for, like, as the info agency model?
First client, it was a trading client. He was one of the homies who he was working with someone else. And I basically just I became a really good friend of him. Like, I threw his birthday party for him. And I was like, dude, like, the person that's running your offer, like, they're also retarded. They have no idea what they're doing. And they had a really bad month. So I was just like, it was like in-person outreach, basically. Yeah. Where it was like like maybe a couple of weeks of me like telling him and convincing him, and then finally telling him to break the contract with the person that was running his offer. And yeah, it took less than 2 weeks.
Less than 2 weeks. And then did you keep doing outreach and get a couple others?
Yeah, so I did outreach and I was hopping on sales calls. My first sales call was bad. The guy, like, it wasn't a good fit. I probably hopped on like 5 or 6 calls, closed one same day, which was pretty fire. And then some like inbound clients came to me, which is sick as fuck because one of them is my biggest client. And I also hired someone to be in my DMs to do outreach for me while I was doing work for the clients. Cause like it was all at once. Like it wasn't just like, it wasn't a gradual process of like pick up one client, finish, pick up the next client. It was like 4 clients just got dropped in my lap. I have to figure out all this shit for them in the same time frame.
Yeah. And I remember the other week at lunch, you were like, dude, getting clients is so easy.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think made it easy for you? Because it's not like you were super dialed in the way that you were sending outbound messages or you had like any crazy SOPs or anything, but what allowed you to pick up a few clients like as soon as you wanted to? You just had, like, I remember right when you started outreach, you're like, bro, this is so easy. I'm getting responses already. What was it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like, I have a bit of an advantage over someone who's just starting and beginning just because I have connections and I have mutuals with a lot of the big info guys in the space. So that automatically just establishes authority that's tied to my name. So that was one thing. Also, like, I knew what I was talking about. Maybe it didn't work out according to plan when I actually, did it. But I had confidence in myself that I was going to take care of their business. And so far, like, I haven't had a client that made less than what they did the month before we started working. So that's kind of fire. But it was confidence in myself, and having that confidence in me just presented itself to them that they should be confident in me.
Yep. What'd you make the first month you got completely off of sales calls?
Like when I started the agency?
Yeah.
I profited maybe 35 grand.
And that was because
because actually that's a lie. I profited 25K.
Got it. And that was partially from the sales management client that you kept, who you were closing for, correct?
Yes.
Got it. And then you picked up one other as well?
Yeah, it was one that same month.
Got it. Okay. Month 2, after getting off sales calls, what'd you make?
4. I profited 40 something around there.
And was that 3 clients?
35 to 40. That was 4 or 5 clients.
And were all of those, other than the one that you became friends with and met in person, were the others from outbound?
Yes, 2 were outbound. Yeah.
Do you want to share what your outbound messages look like? Because it's not like sauce that somebody's gonna be like, oh, I could just steal that. Like, it's so simple, but I think you just did a good job of like presenting yourself as an authority.
Yeah, so it's probably not like good advice. Like, definitely don't do this, because if someone outreach to me the way I outreach to them, like, I would not respond. There's very few messages that I actually do respond to in my DMs, and the message was simply, yo.
That's the key. That's the hack.
It was quote YO quote. That's it. Sometimes it'll be YOO, depending on the person. But yeah, that was it. I would follow them. I would message them, yo. And then I had like a follow-up process of what I would say to them after like a few days. So the second message would be, if they didn't respond, basically like asking them for permission to send them over some real value. So it would be, yo, I leveraged whatever experience I had. So a lot of people thought I was like running the entire offer, but the client that I was just sales managing for. So I was like, yo, saw you're killing it with content. I know you could be doing way more than what you actually are. I've worked with people like my first client that I had, and then the sales managing client, which are pretty big in the space. I made a Loom video going over how I can help you generate more money through your profile. Let me know if it's cool to send over to you. And that message, usually you'd get like some sort of interest. And with my sales background, I knew what I should say in this Loom video to get them over the edge. I knew their pain points. I knew what they're missing. I knew what can be improved. I would even like I would go opt into people's like sales process and see what it would look like and then I can explain in the Loom video, like, dude, like it took your setter 45 minutes to call me. This is really fucking bad. Yo, this person never called me. Yo, I didn't get an email after I signed up. And I would just point out the issues inside of the Loom video, explain what I would do for the client itself. And then, yeah, I would get them on a sales call.
Mm-hmm. So how long would each of those Looms take you? And then like you basically funnel hack everything that they're doing now, find the little gaps, point them out in the Loom. So would it take you 30 minutes per video, or like how long were those?
No, so I would have a mirror board. I think it was Jace actually who pointed this out, who did this. But I have a mirror board of their face on it because people love visuals, especially if it's their own face.
Yeah.
And then I would do like their Instagram page and like show them. I would show them like what they're doing, what it can lead to, and some sort of like outcome to get them to book a call with me and how we can get there. And it would honestly just like be so much to them that it'd be confusing for them to be even interested in booking a call. But in reality, like when you have a basic understanding of like the info products, like it was super simple stuff. It was like CRM, but CRM, it was like 16 different like boxes on how to run a CRM and all the lead statuses and opportunity statuses. But like in reality, like that doesn't really, it's not that confusing as it looks.
Right. Got it. And from there, like, did you start getting responses and hopping on sales calls pretty much immediately?
Yeah, as long as they message, as if they viewed the Loom video, then yeah, getting on a sales call was really easy. But I just had to get them to watch the Loom video. That was the hard part. Or them giving me, not even hard, bro. It was like, I would say I would get a response out of like 3 out of 10 people that I would message.
Yeah. How many were you sending daily?
Between 50 and 100.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And was that you or was that
me starting off and then
you hired somebody?
Yeah. But I wasn't really looking at who I was outreaching to. It was just kind of whoever. I did like the spiderweb method. So you click on some person you want to work in the niche. I was mainly targeting trading info product owners. And then you'd like click on the arrow below them and there's like 30 other traders that you can target. So now I would message them and then like you'd have like an infinite source.
I was going to say, like, how'd you identify a good potential client? So obviously like it's easy to find them that way, but also if somebody has no traffic or their audience hates them, that's not even going to be worthwhile. So would you spend much time there, like just seeing if you think this guy could rip?
I didn't, but I had an SOP that I gave my Egyptian outbound DM setter.
He was Egyptian?
Yeah, he's
Buddy built the pyramids too.
So I gave him an SOP of like the minimum requirements that a client that I'd want to work with needs. So it was like at minimum like 2K views per Instagram reel, over 20K followers. Like just like engagement on their profile, because like sometimes people will bot their shit and I don't want to work with those people. Is able to sell a program like tied to some sort of biz op, and I was letting them start off, but I wasn't like, it wasn't any niche. I feel like that's a problem people fuck up, is like they think they need to niche down. Yeah. Which I just saw the gap in the market that trading in the time period that I started was just like fucking ripping. Like if you had a trading offer, a crypto offer, the start of this year, like you were fucking ripping, and they still are, to be fair. But now I'm kind of staying away from them. I tapered away off from them. So I saw the gap in the market, and then I was just like fucking going after whatever I could find.
Mm-hmm. Got it. What do you think? So I think one, just like your Instagram, you looking like a real person and having some followers, not like a huge account, but you look like a competent human being. Yeah. And then two, I think your case study with the client you were closing for, just being able to kind of name drop him and say, I worked with this guy. Would you say those are the two biggest levers that helped you?
100%. But even dude, before that, like when I first started sales, we can use that as an outreach thing. Bro, when I first DM'd Ben, I didn't have Instagram.
Yeah. That is crazy, dude. That's insane.
Yeah, I didn't even have Instagram. So I didn't have a profile picture, I didn't have Instagram. I posted a picture on Instagram. I made a profile picture, and then I bought 500 followers.
And your bio, what was in your bio? Mentored by @BenHBader.
And then what I would do is I would go down his following list. I would say, hey, I saw that Ben Bader follows you. I'm good friends with him. I work for him, or I don't know what I said exactly. But I was wondering if you had any positions on your sales team for me to appointment set for you.
Fire.
And that would give me responses as well. And I had no Instagram before that. The week before, I had no followers before that. The week before, I just like tried to make myself look like a real person.
Yep. What would you do to even kind of be prepared for those sales calls? Like now, obviously you were accustomed to hopping on sales calls, but B2B is quite different, and structuring your own offer and getting a nice percentage. Like, what would you go over on those calls? How did those look?
Honestly, bro, it was the first thing that came to mind, but I had like some specific points that I wanted to go over. Usually like the first like 10 minutes, the thing that I see can happen to a lot of people is just like, they'll not know how to navigate and operate a sales call. Like they don't know what they're asking questions for. And it's kind of more of like an interview than a sales call when like the client is asking them, what are you gonna do for me? What are you gonna do for me? Yeah. So like take control of the conversation starting off. The first like 10 minutes, all I want to do is just get to know more about this offer. Has anyone ran the offer before? How much money are they doing? What did they do last month? What was their best month? What was their worst month? How much are their sales reps making? How many sales reps do they have? And just like pointing out the bottlenecks in them. Oh, what's your close rate? Oh, I don't know my close rate. Oh, fuck, the current offer owner is not doing his job. What's your show rate? Oh, I don't know what my show rate is. Okay, dude, like these are problems that you should, and you should have these numbers by your side. And then just going into like a deep dive into their situation, like I wouldn't say bullshitting, but like kind of like taking their number of followers, their traction, and me having the confidence knowing that the next month it's going to make more if they just like have a solid process. So if they did 100K last month, I know I can make them at least 150K. Right. A 50K extra is a positive outcome for an offer owner.
You also had like kind of a point of reference for the sales management client. Like you could compare, okay, you guys have about the same amount of traffic, but he made 500 last month, you made 100. Here's what's different.
Yeah. And it honestly doesn't even have to be that confusing. Like you can go on their funnel and point out like, dude, this is fucking awful. Like who wrote this shit?
Yeah. So once you started closing clients, I guess without being too specific on what the operations look like, what were you doing to get them onboarded? I guess first, what kind of rev splits were you going for without saying exact numbers? Let's start there.
Okay, so rev shares, I would honestly go for as much as I possibly can. I wouldn't do a deal under 5K up front and 20% rev share of like top line. So not including sales team, not including profit. Like it was just like, if they made $100,000, I'm getting 20% of that. Is that something everyone should like go after right after watching this interview? Probably not. I was just confident in myself and like.
I mean, you had leverage. You had that one big case study.
Exactly. I had leverage, and also like in my mind, someone told me this is like if someone thinks it's expensive, it must be good. So like they associate the price with the how good the service is going to be. So I would offer that. I have clients that are more than 20%. I have clients that are less than 20%, depending on like the revenue and like what I think I can do for them. Like if it's only sales managing, I'm not going to take more than 10% for that. But if I'm running the entire operations, that's a different story. But yeah, it was 5K and 20% was like the main deal I would want to go after per client.
Right. And for those two clients, like you're doing everything. Like obviously it's a big percentage, but you made it so their job is to make content and manage the community, and you're building the funnels, writing all the copy, managing the sales team. Like I know you work a lot.
Yeah, no. So I mean, I'm working probably from when I'm technically I have to be the sales manager as well, unless I hire someone out for that. But I don't really trust anyone for that job besides myself. So I'm working from when I wake up. A setter's texting me, a closer's texting me, hey, I need this payment link. Hey, I need this done. Hey, what should I have done for this call? Till sundown, till when I go to sleep. Like I've probably gotten like 30 messages while being on this interview that I'm looking down for because that's what I have to do, and that takes off so much like time and pressure off the offer owner where they have to just sit down, film a video like this or post a TikTok and have to worry about nothing else. Like I have a client doing that. He made over $7,000 today and he was sleeping. He's in LA right now. He slept and we made $7,000 while him just having to, his only worry being him having to post a TikTok today.
Yep. So back to the fulfillment side and like your processes, you get a new client. What are some of those like kind of biggest levers that you're looking to pull when, okay, we dissected their funnel, here's what can be improved. What are those things typically? What are you building out?
Yeah, mainly like it's going to be funnel is one, VSL is one, and then just like if they have existing sales reps, run a meeting. This is what I did. For one client, we changed the entire VSL, we changed the entire funnel, and that was a good start because the current VSL was like a 3-minute video, it was dog shit. And then I ran a sales team meeting with all of the setters, closers, and like the sales manager, and I kind of did the same thing that I would do to the offer owner. So I was like, oh, okay, what's your close rate? What's your percentage? Let's run a mock call. And after I ran that meeting, I'm like, this is what you have to do with some companies is you just have to reset. Like you just have to start from the ground up. So with that specific person, that client, I changed everything. I said to the offer owner, I'm like, hey, like these guys are working them for like over a year now. I'm like, hey, bro, like if you really want to run shit up and if you really want to make money, like we have to get rid of these guys. And because I have the credibility, like he trusts me, he's like, okay, cool. If that's what we got to do, we got to do it. That team didn't make like an extraordinary amount of money, but it was still triple of what they did last month. And I fired every single one of the reps. It was 3 setters, 1 DM setter, 2 phone setters, 2 closers, and a sales manager.
So you hopped on with them the next day and you're like, sorry boys, you're all gone?
Yeah. I started the team from the ground up.
Yep. How hard was it for you coming from a sales background to learn the other pieces, to learn funnels, copy, emails? Like, was that a challenge or did you pick it up pretty quickly?
I'd say yes and no. I'd say I had to remind myself this, like jumping into this, because that was one of my fears. Like, oh shit, I don't know nothing about copywriting. It's like, you're not going to be good when you start off. That's with any skill, that's with anything you do.
Yeah.
It just comes with time. And what I realized in my mind is like, I don't have to be the best. I don't have to be perfect. I honestly just have to be better than the person before me that was running this offer. Or if they didn't have one before, make your bag. And then if you get fired because someone else comes along better, like whatever, you made your bag. So it came with time and me practicing copywriting, me reading your emails and rating them, me watching Mason stuff. It wasn't like an insane like jump. I think the fear of the unknown made it scarier than actually taking it on.
Mm-hmm. I guess on that side, I know you're not super active in Artisan Lab, but I do think it helped you a bit. Like, what do you think the biggest thing you got out of there was?
Relief. I think just like having someone to, because like think about it like this, like I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. Like I kind of, for the first like month, I just pretended I did. So going to someone like Ben who has worked with like fucking really big clients and he knows his shit, it's like I can just text him and be like, yo, I'm doing this, is this correct? And even like when I sort of like knew what to do, just like getting a second opinion and second pair of eyes to look at it made the pressure off me be relieved.
I hear that a lot because it's like, it's just the conviction. I think that's what saves you time the most in coaching is like, instead of contemplating a decision for a few months, you can send one text, get an answer, and then you know, okay, that's the direction that we have to go in.
Exactly. It's so funny. That's how a lot of coaching programs are. It's just like being able to talk to a higher person in a higher position than you are and getting comfort from them.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's go way back. Now that we have the current Phillip Karcz, where were you roughly 2.5 years ago?
Yeah, 2.5 years ago. 2.5 and 2 years and 7 months. 2 years and 7 months ago. 2 years and 7 months ago, I was living in my hometown in Chicago, the trenches. I'm just kidding. But I was in college. I was 18. And I found this person named Ben Bader, I think it was. And I saw him on TikTok. He had like 10,000 followers at the time, not getting that many views. But I saw his videos and I resonated to him because he was living the life I wanted to live. He had this, I don't even think you had it at the time, but this like RS5. He had a date just on. He was living in Miami. He had a $3,500 a month apartment.
It was actually $2,850.
But that looks so much cooler online. And like, I'm like, holy fuck, this guy's, I don't know, maybe like 21, 22 at the time.
Yeah.
I'm like, holy shit, like this guy's living the life I want to live. I'm like, what can I do to be in this guy's position? And what I did was I spammed him. Will this ever work for anyone else? Like, I would.
No, the Venmo method is patched.
The Venmo method is patched. Don't try it. But I would comment under his posts all the time. I had no profile picture on TikTok. He never responded to me. And then one night, December 8th, 2022, was the night where I was writing this essay that was due the next day in person. I was like 12 or 20 pages, I forget. But I went through TikTok because I was procrastinating writing this essay, and then I found his page again. One of his TikToks popped up. I decided to like look into his profile a little bit more. His Instagram was in his TikTok. I clicked on that, and then just going through his posts, just like, it's kind of gay, like fantasizing like me living this life.
Now you're here, man. Now you're on my couch. I'm like casting couch here.
So I went through his Instagram post. He took it down, but his Venmo was inside of one of the posts. And I Venmoed him $1. I'm like, hey, bro, like, what can I do to be you? Like, I'm 18, living in Chicago, hate my life. Like, I was genuinely, I hate this word, but I genuinely was depressed. I was looking at these people living the life I want to live, and I was just so like deep into my own thoughts, like not being it a reality. And I just like hated every second of life. Like I was in a really bad situation, in a really bad headspace. So I kind of try to demonstrate that through words. And the next day, December 8th, well, it was technically at 2 a.m., so same day. The next morning, it was like around 5 p.m., I get a notification from Venmo, and it was $1,000 payment from the man himself on my left, Ben Bader. And he said, it's still my wallpaper to this day. It says, I'm in a giving mood. Don't fuck this up.
And you didn't.
I didn't.
That's crazy, dude. That still like gives me chills hearing that again.
Yeah. $1,000. Imagine just like you're driving with your friends and you get a notification from Venmo. You get $1,000 payment just randomly. By the way, keep in mind, I wasn't making any money at the time. I had maybe like $1.5 grand in my bank account. If that, honestly. And just.
But you did something with it, bro. Like, I remember I was sitting at dinner with my boy Sanjay. I had $1,000 sitting in Venmo. And I was like, you know what? Why not send it to this kid? And I never considered that you'd end up becoming one of my really good friends and moved to Miami and all of this. But you took initiative after that. So.
I think that also goes back to like the second I thing is like, if you just sent me that $1,000 and just like left me, I wouldn't know what to do with it. But I asked you like, hey, like, okay, this money's cool, but like, what can I actually do with this money to make more? And you were the one who told me to get into sales at the time. But like, without the lack of direction, without you telling me and giving me a path of what to follow and what to do, I wouldn't be here. Like,
maybe you would have made it some other way, but
there's
it
no
definitely
argument for that.
Definitely helped. Well, Philip, you're the man. I guess last thing, if there's one thing you would say to like somebody who was in your position roughly 6 months ago, they're either a closer, a sales manager, and they want to get more freedom. Like, what would you tell them to do?
If you want more freedom and you're in my position, I would say try learning the skills while alongside doing it. Like, don't just, I mean, you definitely can, but my best advice would be just like do it while you're in sales. Like do it, while I was sales managing and taking sales calls, like the free time that I had, I was just learning stuff outside of it that's going to benefit me. I paid for your program. I paid for Artisan Lab. I was in the beta group before that. So I was learning through there. I was watching his videos. And then Mason stuff, I was watching his stuff. It wasn't just like a dramatic drop into the ocean and figure it out. It was like, it wasn't whatsoever gradual, but like I had some sort of boosts going into it.
You had a foundation. You had an understanding.
Exactly. So I would say learn skills while you can, or get a fucking program. That's like the easiest way to do it.
All right. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, link in the description to apply for Artisan Lab. Thanks for watching.
Right below that one is my YouTube channel. Go
we'll see about that, buddy. Love you, dude.
Love you too, Tog.
Tog?
Dog. Love you too, dog.